I recently ate in a restaurant where balancing the front and back of house wages was an important thing to the owners. And it was a really good experience, so let's talk about it. And that's starting right now. Hamlet and Ghost, located in the heart of downtown Saratoga Springs, offers up creative cocktails and locally inspired seasonal food. According to their website, their location at 24 Caroline Street was once a feed and grain store in the 1870s. Then it became a hardware store during Prohibition, which was supposedly a front for a speakeasy gambling spot. As you enter the restaurant and browse the menus, you can see that there's a heavy focus on cocktails and spirits. The dinner menu doesn't list a high number of items, but between the descriptions of the dishes and the fine print, there is much to break down about what is going on at Hamlet and Ghost. When we sat down at Hamlet and Ghost, I was definitely a little bit frazzled because I was still laughing about how our feet was literally 2 feet away from the hostess station. Then I got distracted by the bar and cocktail menu, and then as I checked out the food menu, I noticed some fine print, and it's the first time I've seen something like this, so it really made me think. Here's what it said. As of July 4th, Hamlet and Ghost will begin to incorporate a 4% kitchen administration fee to help balance the industry-wide discrepancy between front of house and back of house wages. After much deliberation, we believe that the 4% administrative fee is the best solution to take better care of the hardworking members of our restaurant team, and we hope you feel this way too. We thank you for your loyalty, your understanding, and your desire to help pioneer a better wage structure and working conditions for the aspiring chefs of Hamlet and beyond. I covered the good and bad of this in a recent live stream, which is linked below if you want to check that out. But while eating there, my main question was whether this fee was already incorporated into the price or if it would be itemized out. I'll talk a little bit more about this toward the end of the video, but I'm going to say up front, I really do like the idea of a higher price restaurant in a high volume area, looking out for the back of house employees who really work their butts off to provide good food and good experience. Back to ordering, although it was enticing, I decided to abstain from alcohol that evening, but being that this was in celebration of Cassie's birthday, we did decide to get a couple of appetizers to share. With only a handful of options, this was actually pretty easy to narrow down. Sopressata seemed unnecessary, and duck fat fries would be a little bit redundant based on what we chose for entrees. The bread and butter also sounded good, with the bread being sourdough and a spiced apple butter in the thick of fall in upstate New York here, but we zeroed in on 2 totally different things. The first of which was spicy crab toast, which was described as Tabasco, garlic aioli, shallot, sesame, sourdough. There we go, we got to try the sourdough anyway. This dish, when it came out, didn't fit my expectations, although looking back, what was served really does make sense. This was a literal piece of toast, topped with the spicy crab that was tossed with the Tabasco, the aioli, and the shallot, and then it was kind of sprinkled with the sesame. It's akin to the crab salad that you get at a Japanese restaurant. I was expecting more of a greasy, crusty shrimp toast type thing that you would get from a Chinese restaurant. That's all on me, but come on guys, you always go with the crusty. The other appetizer that we went for this time was the cider battered cheese curds with warm pepper jelly. We've had this particular appetizer on previous visits, and it's always great. It's basically like bite-sized, poppable mozzarella sticks. Well, this time there were definitely some bigger clumps of fried goodies, but you can make anything bite-sized if you try hard enough. The pepper jelly is just so good with this. It reminds me of the sweet combination of fried mozzarella with Melba that we recently covered on the channel here, but with that kind of more vegetal punch of sweet peppers. Pretty good! Actually, before we ordered, Cassie had asked the server if everything was available to order that evening. It was a valid question because last time, the dish that Cassie wanted got sold right under our nose. The table right next to us, a lady at that table had ordered, it was some fresh pasta dish. Cassie had wanted it, she ordered it, and then the server immediately came back to the table and explained that the lady next to her took the last portion of it. But on this occasion, the server told us there were no 86 items that evening. It was really funny though when Cassie ordered a pear cider beverage that the server came back to the table a couple seconds later saying that that wasn't available, but an apple version from the same brewery was available. Cassie of course opted for that, but it was just a fun exchange given what happened in the past. On to our entrees. If you're liking this so far, be sure to hit that thumbs up button so YouTube shares it with more food-loving people like you. Both of us settled on burgers that night. Again, for entrees, there were only about a handful of items. $50 steaks in Saratoga isn't exactly my thing, and I really wasn't feeling seafood that night, so for me, the burger was perfectly adequate. The burger is advertised as St. Croix Farm Beef, which is a farm located east of Saratoga, almost near the Vermont border. The menu also said that it came with melted onions. These were more like sauteed onions, and also fries or a side salad. I figured that I had enough fried food that night, so I opted for the salad. Plus, if I really wanted to, I could have stolen some of Cassie's duck fat fries. For the burger, I added bacon for good measure because why not? Now, you'll notice the price here is a little bit over $20. Now, especially with the upcharge for the bacon, you may argue that that's an unreasonable price for a burger, and I definitely wouldn't argue with you about that. In its defense, it is an average price for a burger in that area of Saratoga Springs, and the quality of the ingredients definitely justify it, even if just a little. But does the flavor justify the price? Let's see how it tastes. I would say yes, but I did mess up a little bit while I was eating this. On the side, they served a small ramekin with a mayonnaise type thing. When I gave it a quick taste, it had some rich umami flavor, and my first impression was that it was a garlic aioli, which was all over the menu. So I slathered the hell out of my burger with this stuff, including individual bites. As it turns out, I'm pretty sure it was a truffle mayo. And by the end of the meal, my mouth was coated with that rich, slippery truffle oil taste. It was difficult to shake and totally my fault, but aside from this misstep, I could definitely say I enjoyed the burger, even though I was making a mess! As I tried biting into this thing, I was making a mess. That's what happens when you're eating and trying to get footage to be entertaining and all that stuff. And by the way, subscribe if you're finding this entertaining. You can't have a birthday celebration without dessert. So Cassie opted for the horchata rice pudding, which had chamomile, miso caramel, and crunchy buñuelo. I, of course, had to take a bite or two to kind of savor the occasion, as well as try to get rid of that truffle taste. As far as desserts go, this wasn't a terribly heavy dessert, but the flavors were really delicate and everything seemed to work well together. Past that, you can't trust what I say because my mouth was totally coated in truffle juice. When the bill came, that 4% kitchen administration fee that I mentioned earlier was listed as an item on the bill. Now, what I mentioned in that live stream was that I didn't know exactly what to do as far as backing out that fee for calculating the tip for the server. The logistics to me need a little bit of work. And in that live stream, I shared some of my thoughts about how to handle this type of situation, and you can check all that out by clicking into this video right here.